All right, my name's Mary. I'm here with Northwest Animal Adventures and Tom Gaines. Tom, we are having creepy crawlies on today. Who do you have with you?
Hi, Mary. This right here is Annabelle, and Annabelle is a Arizona blonde tarantula. They're also known as a desert tarantula. And we'd like to thank you very much for tuning in once again, and I'm really excited because I absolutely love the creepy crawly animals. They're some of my absolute favorites because they're so cool, they're so misunderstood, and they are so awesome, and they're so great for any environment. Now, this is a tarantula. Now, tarantula is a type of spider. Oh, here we go. And spiders are found all over the world except for Antarctica. And this one is actually pretty big, and she's actually going to continue to grow. So she can actually get about the size of my palm. And if you look, she's not quite there yet. Now, tarantulas don't grow the same way that you or I grow, where we have bones on the inside. So anybody who's watching, point to your bones. They're all over. You can just point to anywhere on your face. So you can look and you can see that you have bones inside. You can't see them. Now with a tarantula, they have what's called an exoskeleton. An exoskeleton means that their skeleton's on the outside. So basically the thing that keeps them from being a big pile of mush is the outside, where the thing that keeps us from being a big pile of mush is on the inside. Now, when a spider grows, they literally crawl out of their skin in order to grow. So they'll actually form a little bit of a line right there, and then they'll literally crawl. And they actually come out about double the size they were when they were before they actually did their molt. And that's like super duper neat, because it's kind of like you wearing like a really tiny coat, and then you're coming out and you being double the size you were before you went into that coat. So they grow very differently. Now, this particular species of tarantula is found in the southwestern United States in the Sonora Desert. They're found in Arizona, and they're pretty common in Arizona. In fact, they are seen all the time, especially when it rains, because when it rains, they live under the ground and their burrows get flooded with water, and so they kind of come up same way we would kind of come up. If we wanted to get out of the rain, we'd kind of like want to get out of the ground. So they'll come out, and then they'll kind of scurry around. And a lot of people look at tarantulas like this and they say, they're huge, they're scary, there's these scary spiders. And to be fair, they do kind of look a little bit scary, don't they? They have a lot of hair on them, they're kind of weird, they have a lot of eyes, they have big fangs, but they don't want to hurt you. The neatest thing about tarantulas, let me get you there, is the first thing they're going to wind up doing when they're trying to hurt you, or when they're scared, is they're going to put their front legs up. Let's see if I can get her to do it. She usually doesn't get that scared when we're doing presentations, but they're going to put their two front legs up, kind of like a, hey, don't mess with me, I can bite you. Actually, before that, they're going to do something else. Oop, you are just crawling all over the place. They have hair all over them, and the first thing they're going to do is they're going to flick that hair at you. And if you were a kid and you ever played with itching powder, you know, it gets on you and you start itching, that's exactly the same thing with that spider hair. It's like an itching thing. So it gets on you, you start itching, you don't really want to mess with it. It kind of makes you a little bit uncomfortable, and that's their first thing. Then they're going to raise their legs and say, hey, I don't want to mess with you, but I have these really big fangs, and please don't mess with me. Now, if you still haven't gotten the hint the first two times, that tarantula might wind up trying to bite you. But even if it does bite you, it's really not that big of a deal. Tarantulas do have venom. And venom basically means when they bite you, they're going to put something inside of you. But it's not really going to be, that bad. It's going to be like a bee sting. It might sting a little bit, but they don't really have venom enough to hurt you. So really, you want to make sure that they kind of are being very cautious around them, and they're going to give you any hint that they're not having a good time. Now, tarantulas are spiders, and spiders are super neat. And look, as far as you see a creepy crawly animal, how creepy and crawly is that as they're kind of going around? Now, they are ambush hunters. So what they're going to do is they're going to have basically nets of their silk, the spider webs. They're going to set those up. And these ones don't really have them out in the air the same as a spider when you're kind of walking through the woods and you're like, oh, I'm going to go hiking. And then all of a sudden you just like get a spider web in your face. No, these ones are going to be underneath the ground. And when they're underneath the ground, they're going to make really dense webs. And those are kind of just more if a bug gets stuck in them. But instead what they're going to do is they're going to kind of jump out of their little holes, and they're going to try and grab something, and they're going to bite it. And then they're going to kind of put it in their web, and they're going to wrap it, and they're going to wait for it to kind of get a little bit soupy. So they're kind of somewhat of a little bit of disgusting eaters, but they basically make smoothies out of all of their prey.
Nice. So she likes smoothies like me. I like that.
Well, you wouldn't like her smoothies.
Wow, she's beautiful. So does she get much bigger than that?
Yep, she'll about double this size.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and they molt every, depends on how much they're eating, but they'll molt about every 6 months to a year, and they'll literally crawl out of their skin. And she's molted twice since we got her. We first got her, she was a really tiny little spider, yay big. And now she's actually kind of pretty much quadrupled in size since we got her.
Wow, incredible. So does she have any predators out in the wild?
They do. Anything that's small would eat them. A lot of little basically mammals, like rats would eat them. Pretty much anything that wants a little snack will eat them. And the question we have, looks like Mary Jane is asking how long they live for. Well, this particular tarantula can live actually about 7 years. So they live a very long time. It's actually a lot longer than a lot of people think spiders live for, but this particular spider species is actually pretty long-lived. All right. Do we have any other questions about Annabelle, our Arizona blonde tarantula?
We're looking here on the Facebook page. So let's see here. So what we're wondering here, so if we were to, we're out there on the, in the desert, we find her, what's the best way to approach a tarantula in the wild?
Well, the best way to approach a tarantula in the wild is with a lot of respect. So the first thing you want to do is you don't want to try and grab it. Because the second you try and grab it, that's when they're going to get scared and they're going to want to try and bite you. So the best thing to do with a tarantula is to look with your eyes and kind of leave them be. They eat a lot of insects that can get into different things that are, you know, like grasshoppers and crickets and that type of thing, things that can eat different types of plants. So they eat a lot of them. So they're very good for the environment as well. So the main thing to do, kind of look with your eyes and leave them be. If you do see one, you get scared. I guarantee you it's more scared of you than you are of it.
Wow, well, she's beautiful. A whole new respect for spiders.
Absolutely. And check this out. Look, she's all the way upside down and she's climbing. They have incredible grip as they're walking.
She's totally unfazed. She's ready to just keep walking.
She is actually my absolute favorite spider of all time, Annabelle, our Arizona blonde.
Wow, gorgeous. And those are her fangs right there in the front. How many eyes does she have?
She has 8.
8 eyes. Is that true for all spiders? Or is that true for all spiders? They all have 8 eyes?
Not all spiders have 8 eyes, but she does. You can't really see them. They're so close together. I'll see if I can get her really close to the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Her eyes are literally right on top of her head. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put her back. And then I'm going to actually get out animal, not that you would find in the United States, but an animal you would actually find in Africa. This one's actually from Sub-Saharan Africa. One second. This is Willie. And when we're talking about creepy and crawlies, we, of course, had to bring out a snake. Now, this is called a ball python. They're also called a royale python. And this is actually one of my favorite animals. I say that a lot because all the animals are my favorite. But I have had this animal since I was 19 years old. So I've had him for about 18 years. You can do the math and figure out how old I am. So this is an animal that I got as a pet when I didn't really realize that I was going to work with animals for such a long time. But now you can see that this is such a beautiful snake. Well, the reason I say that I've had him for about 17, I'm sorry? 18 years at this point in time is because a lot of people do look at snakes and they think, oh man, this is an animal I could just have for a couple years like a dog. Well, if you get a snake like this, they can live to be 25 to even 30 years old.
Wow, so real commitment, huh?
Oh, absolutely. You're looking at a very long commitment. I'll see if he's going to go ahead and show you his tongue. There you go. You got to see that flicking the tongue he's got going on. So what he is doing is he's actually tasting his environment. So a lot of people, they look and they say, oh, snakes smell with their tongues. And that's kind of true, but more accurately, they're taking particles out of the air, and you might be able to see that forked tongue going on that's just kind of flicking out. And they have an organ at the top of their mouth called a Jacobson's organ, and it has two holes, and they're going to be able to stick their tongue into there, and they'll be able to determine if there's anything really, really yummy to eat. Now, things that are really yummy to eat for him are things like rats and mice, which of course are not the most favorite things of most people to eat, but we are not snakes. But more than that, they actually give a sense of what's around their environment. So snakes like this, well, pretty big. This is about a 3.5 foot snake. That's not a small snake. But this is an animal that lives in Africa with a lot of different predators. And a lot of those different predators would really, really like to make a snack out of the ball pythons. But instead, they can sense, and then they can kind of hide in grounds or in the ground in like little rock crevices. And actually, look at that. That design over there, if you look, is actually kind of dark and a light coloration, which is a great coloration if you're looking to kind of blend in with different rocks.
Oh yeah,
Now,
that's perfect to sneak around the. I was going to say it'd be perfect for sneaking around the ground and things like that to go unnoticed.
Oh, absolutely.
He has such a kind of a cute
this snake right here is what's called a constrictor. So a lot of people think snakes are all poisonous. There's actually no such thing as a poisonous snake. There's only venomous snakes. Venom refers to when something is injected inside of you. Well, this one doesn't have any venom. They actually like to give really, really big hugs. But they also have a lot of razor sharp teeth, hundreds of them inside their mouth to kind of grip on and give that big hug to. And you can see that their body is like all muscle. That's like big, thick muscle. They have organs inside of it. And then they have a little bit of itty tiny tail that starts right about here. But the rest of that is all organs and muscle. They're extremely strong. And if you look at the scales on the bottom right there, you can see that the scales on the bottom are actually different. This is really cool because a lot of people ask how, he's moving my camera. A lot of people ask how snakes can move so well. In the bottom of their scales, they have what are called scutes. And those are basically long, thin scales that actually allow them to kind of move along the bottom of the ground, kind of by moving muscles and getting those grips. And on the outside, they have much more fine scales. You can actually see them right there. Any one of those little squares you see is a scale. And they actually are very clean animals because they will shed all of those scales. He sheds about every 3 months or so. But snakes, when they're growing pretty rapidly, they'll shed about every 18 months. And they'll actually lose the entire outer shell of scales, and they'll continue to grow. So they're extremely clean. That gets rid of all external parasites. They're extremely good for the environment because they help keep rodent populations down. Look at that tongue right there. Right now he's saying, hey, City of Renton.
Oh, he has such a cute little face.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions about Willie, our ball python?
Let's see here. We want to know, how much does he weigh? He looks so kind of big in a way.
He's only about 3 or 4 pounds. He's not too heavy at all. Okay. So females actually get significantly bigger than the male ball pythons. So they can get actually about an extra, foot and a half, be about 5 feet long. He's about 3.5 feet long, which is about full grown for a male, and they're not really all that heavy. We have other snakes, which you might actually get to see tomorrow, that are actually significantly larger and get up to hundreds of pounds. But this one in particular is not one of the big species. They're actually a pretty small constrictor.
Very cute. I love how he gets all curled up like that. Does that mean he's
That's where they get the
comfortable?
name ball python. They're also called royale pythons, and that's because of the beautiful coloration. A lot of people see ball pythons, and they've actually started breeding them to look differently. This is what a ball python would look if you found it in the wild. But a lot of people breed them to kind of look differently, just because they've been in the pet trade for so long, and they have different genes that they try and go for. Personally, I prefer the way an animal looks naturally, but if you do have a morph ball python, they can be pretty cool also.
Oh, well, he's lovely. And very active too.
Yep, that's one of the reasons we're really warming up. So he is starting to really enjoy this outside heat. It's about 80 degrees. So reptiles in general are what's called ectothermic, which means that they get energy from their environment. Doesn't mean that you can just put it in the sun and it'll grow like a plant. What it does mean that in order to be active and hunt and digest their food, they need to have specific warmth. And so when it gets warmer out, reptiles in general tend to eat more, and they tend to and they tend to be a lot more active. So that's kind of what you're seeing right now, is a ball python being relatively active.
Oh yeah, he looks like he's living his best life right now, really enjoying the weather.
Oh yeah, he's a very good snake.
And he's not camera shy at all. He looks like he's getting right up there. Look at him.
Nope.
So
he's,
cute.
If I put him there, he'd probably wrap himself around the camera, but then, that's unwrap him. Now, I want to point out, a lot of people are scared of snakes, and that's okay. I have no problem with anybody being scared of any single animal. What I do want to make sure is that you treat every single animal with respect. And what does that wind up meaning? Well, the majority of the time, people wind up getting bit by snakes, whether a snake's in captivity or in the wild, they wind up getting bit on their hands. The reason why they get bit on the hands is because people try and grab the snakes. Now, a snake wants really nothing to do with you, especially in the wild. They want to get away from you as soon as humanly possible. So if you try and grab it, it's going to do the first thing it can do to deter you, which is biting you. This snake has bit me 3 times in 18 years, and every single time it has been my fault. That is because I've done something that I should not have done, whether trying to hand feed, whether trying to handle him when he's shedding, when their eyes are really opaque and they can't really see. So the main thing to keep in mind is keep your hands away from snakes, because they want to stay away from you, and don't try and grab them. Now, I personally, around here we have garter snakes. They're not too dangerous, but you can get a bite from them. So if you don't want to get bit by snakes, just don't try and catch them.
So kind of same rule as if we saw Annabelle out in the wild, same thing too. Just look with a little bit of respect, but not with your hands, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Any other questions? And then we can get out our next animal.
Let's look here. Oh, people are just really, really enjoying him right now. So very beautiful. Thank you.
Of course. All right. Well, the next animal I'm about to get out, actually, I think I have animals. So first, I'm going to show you the container. And you can see I have a bunch of leaves in here, right?
Uh-huh. All I see are leaves. Oh, that's a moving leaf right there.
That is moving leaves. I'm going to go ahead and take out. Oh, is there? Cool. Apparently there's 4 total, I was just informed. Oh, come on. So these are, if I can actually get them, here. These are leaf insects. Now, this particular species of insect has one defense and one defense only, and that defense is to look exactly like its environment. And actually, it's really neat because you can actually see that they start swaying in the wind. Let's see if I can get one of them on my hand. Oh, come over. Oh, there we go. Here. Perfect. And you can see that they are walking, and they look almost exactly like a leaf. And they move like a leaf, and they act like a leaf. They'll sway in the wind. As you see they're moving, they're kind of jerking back and forth as they're going. Now, this particular species of leaf insect can be found all over Asia and all over Australia. They're very common. They breed very easily, and that's pretty important because this particular insect mainly is going to live up to 18 months, so they don't have that long of a life cycle. Let me see if I can't get you. Yeah, come on over here, bud. Now, this animal is also super cool because you can see they're an insect, and they also have the exoskeleton, same thing as Annabelle, so they're going to crawl out of their skin. But the other thing they might do is if they get scared or something grabs one of their legs, they'll actually drop their leg. And once they drop their leg, it might seem, oh, I only have 5 legs. But actually, when they molt, they'll regrow their legs. So if they lose a leg around they're about this age, they're still going to molt about 3 more times before they're fully grown. And they'll actually grow that leg back as they're molting. So really amazing animal that can kind of regenerate and regrow itself.
Interesting.
You can kind of see.
You can tell even down her back or his back that you can see that it looks just like a leaf, like a stem on a leaf. It's incredible how close they look.
Actually, even more incredible, once they start getting older, on their back, they'll start getting spots, kind of like a leaf gets spotted as it gets older.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll wind up getting some spots, and it's really neat because you have a leaf insect which perfectly mimics its environment. Now, this is technically a form of a stick bug, and their stick bugs do pretty much look like their environment, and that's their main defense. And that's really important because they are a prey animal. Really, anything eats them, and only thing they really like to eat is leaves. I'm actually going to take out. Here we feed pretty much just blackberries. You can see right there. They eat bramble. That's basically everything that they eat. You want to go on your blackberry? Oh, no. So they eat bramble, and that's pretty much their entire diet is they just eat leaves.
Wow, they get all their leaves.
Yep. And they get their water from the dew that's on their leaves. So every day, about twice a day, we actually spray them off so they get moisture that they can drink, and then they'll eat. We actually got leaf bugs. We got about 4 of them about a year and a half ago, and then we had a bunch of babies all of a sudden about a month ago. So these are all the babies which are about a month and a half old, and they're starting to get a lot bigger. When they're born, they're black, and they're about a quarter of this size. And that's to help them kind of blend in, and you can kind of see the back of the leaf right there.
Well, how many eggs do they usually lay at a single time?
Oh. Sorry.
That's all right.
They actually can lay about 50 at a time.
Wow.
And so females will lay about 50 eggs once or twice, and so they'll be able to, one female can actually give you probably about 100 to 150 eggs. Now, if there's no males, they can clone themselves.
Oh, wow.
Which actually means that females can lay eggs, and they take longer to hatch, but the females will actually wind up laying eggs that are exact clones of themselves. Oop, and somebody asked, do they bite? Are you talking about the leaf-end bugs? They do not bite, or at least I've never. Mary Jane is asking if they bite, and nope, they don't bite. A lot of people mistake them for praying mantises. There we go.
And praying mantises, they do bite, huh? They're usually known to be pretty.
Not really,
no?
But they kind of look very similar to them, except for the praying mantises eat aphids, while the stick bugs and leaf bugs, they eat basically just leaves.
Really
there we go.
Cool. Oh my
gosh. All right. Does anybody have any more questions about leaf bugs?
Just looking here, people are really enjoying this right now. Just for an update here, guys, on folks listening on Facebook, please go ahead and comment with any questions you have about animals coming up here. Very cool.
All right. Let's go ahead and put the leaf bugs back. And I am going to get another animal that you would find in Australia. This beautiful girl is Princess Leia, and Princess Leia is a bearded dragon. Bearded dragons are a fairly large lizard. They can get up to about 24 inches. So you can see that she's about 15 to 18 inches right now. So she's not as big as they can get, but they can get pretty big. Now, bearded dragons are a lizard which is found all over Australia. There's different subspecies. They're called bearded dragons because when they get scared, you can see that coloration on the beard right there. That's how it's all bright. Now, when they get scared, and she doesn't really get scared, they'll actually open up that beard. They'll open up their mouth and make their head look really big, kind of as a way to say, don't mess with me. I have a big mouth, I have a big head, and I will eat you. Now, you can see that she's actually laser focused on something. As I kind of move her, her head is staying in one spot, which I think is super duper neat. Now, bearded dragons are kind of an omnivore, which means they eat just about anything. They love insects, but they'll eat any type of little vegetable, any type of fruit, anything like that. Ooh, super neat. Check this out. Look. So you can see right here, there's a little bit of skin. She's actually going through a shed right now. Here we go. And you can see right there, she's shedding.
Whoa.
So they shed just like a snake would. They're going to lose all of their scales on their body, but they don't shed in one long piece like a snake does. They shed in little pieces. Now, bearded dragons can also change colors, not the same way a chameleon changes colors. When everybody thinks of a chameleon, they kind of think of, the bright colorations. Well, if you look at the back of her, you can see that it is a lighter coloration. Now, they can change from a darker coloration to a lighter coloration. The reason they would change from a darker coloration is when they're cold. If they're cold, they're going to get darker so they absorb heat. If they get warmer, they're actually going to get lighter, and so they can basically have the heat radiate off of them. They also have all these really cool spikes right here on the side. Now, a lot of people are thinking that these are things that are spiky and can hurt you. In reality, they're very soft. They're not really anything that is going to hurt you. They're just kind of one of those things that makes you feel like you're a big and scary animal, and they don't want to actually mess with you. Now, also, let's take a look at those ears real quick. Now, if you look at the sides of those ears, you can see that there's a giant hole right there. That is internal. That's an internal ear. And actually, what makes a reptile, one of the main differences between reptiles and mammals is reptiles have one bone in their ear and 3 bones in their jaw over here. I go to the right side, while mammals have 1 bone in their jaw and they have 3 bones in the ear. So they have only 1 bone in the ear. They can still hear pretty well, but it just kind of is a different way to wind up hearing. And bearded dragons can run fairly quick, but you also notice that she's just really enjoying kind of hanging out on me right there, just being kind of giving me my hand a little hug right there. You can see that.
Yeah, she looks really relaxed. Do they have to get their nails trimmed or?
Yep, we trim the nails whenever they're needed, which is usually about once a month. In the wild, they would naturally kind of go down in their environment. There's a lot of sand, there's rocks. While we do try and mimic a natural environment, it is different from the environment that you would wind up seeing in the Australian outback, where you might wind up finding a bearded dragon. Oh, she's actually really relaxed. Look, she's starting to try and close her eyes.
I saw that slow blink. That was so sweet.
Yeah.
No, do bearded dragons make for good pets, or?
Bearded dragons can make a good pet. My always advice is, if you looking at getting an animal, always make sure you do your research. Bearded dragons need a lot of different things. They need calcium in their diets. They need proper heat. They need an area in their habitat which gets above around 98 to 100 degrees. They also need UVB light. So just putting them in a little enclosure and kind of, thinking that they're okay, they need to have a proper environment. They need to have a place where they can bask and get warm. They need to have proper lighting, and they need to have a proper diet, which means lots of insects, fresh fruits, fresh veggies, and just a good variety of everything. Temperament-wise, this is an animal that is very calm. But I will say, this is a rescue bearded dragon. We got it from somebody who was looking to rehome their bearded dragon as well as a green iguana. And we get offered a lot of bearded dragons. And that's because bearded dragons can live to be up to 15 years old. A lot of people get them and they're like, oh, this is such a cool animal. And then they have them. They don't really know what to do with them. So always make sure you're doing your research. Bearded dragons have a great temperament. They're really, really fun animals, but always make sure that you understand that you're getting yourself into the same commitment you would be getting with a dog, and it is going to cost a little bit of money in order to make sure that they have a proper diet and proper enclosure and proper lighting.
Beautiful.
All right. Any questions about the bearded dragon?
She is lovely. We love just how calm and how she's just taking it all in right now.
Oh, absolutely. Well, she was not like this when we first got her. We spent a lot of time just kind of handling her and making sure that she understood that coming out with us was always a lot of fun. And now she's just kind of realized that, hey, if I come out here, it's fun. I get to hang out. I get to show how cool I am. I get to show how beautiful I am. Mm-hmm. Just a really amazing animal.
Is she food motivated, or is she just kind of take it or leave it?
If it's bugs, she will eat a lot. All right.
Very cool. Oh, look how sweet she does when she sits like that.
All right. Well, I have one more animal I'm about to get out. And I promised yesterday I'd get out a creepy and crawly mammal. So this one is found all the way in Brazil. This is Pebbles. And Pebbles is a 3-banded armadillo. They come from Brazil, and there are 21 species of armadillo, and you are looking at one of 2 that can go completely into a ball. This is not a cantaloupe. This is an armadillo. You can see there are 3-banded armadillo right there. You can count the bands, 1, 2, and 3. That's where they get the name. This is not like one of the armadillos you would find in the United States. This is much smaller. This is full grown. She's about 6 years old now, and they can live to be about 14. Now, she might do some sit-ups for you. Now, if you look at her, you can see that she's got a nose, and her nose is going. She's sniffing, sniffing, sniffing. The reason she is sniffing, sniffing, sniffing is that is the main way she senses her environment. She senses her environment through her nose because her eyesight is bad and her hearing is also really bad. And right now, she's like our toddler, and she just wants to run, run, run. So I'll put her down in a second and let you guys watch her. But in the meantime, I also want to show you guys those big front nails she has right there. So those nails are used for digging, and they're also used for, she's got me. And they're used for digging. They're also used for hurting her handler's fingers. They're also used for breaking up termite mounds because they're an insectivore, which means they love, love, love to eat insects. All right. Now I'm actually going to put her on the ground and let you guys watch her walk. So I'm going to get my camera moving a little bit. I'm going to set her down. So, everybody, it's Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie. Look at you go, Pebbles.
Now, Pebbles is moving around and, she's wandering away. Can you grab her, Steph?
She's off to go get some supper, huh?
Right there, right away, you see that she's moving around. She almost glides around. And she's kind of sniffing the entire time as she moves around. Hi. There we go. Hi. This is what she really wanted to do. Look at those, like, she's like, oh, let me run, let me run. Now, armadillos like this are basically animals that are really unique. That shell that you see, it's like a bony keratin. So what that bony keratin is it's the same thing as our skin, and it's the same thing as the bones inside of us. It's just a little bit different. It's kind of modified hair that has bone in it. It's protective, but it won't protect against a large animal. It'll pretty much protect against against like smaller animals. You can see all the hair that's on the inside. That's kind of like whiskers. Did we freeze? No,
There
we're
we
good.
go. Now it's coming back in.
All right. So they have hair on the bottom, and that hair actually kind of acts as the same thing as whiskers.
Is that so she can feel where she's going, or?
Yeah, she can feel where she's going. Now, they are also related to anteaters, and they're also related to sloths, and that means they have very, very unique teeth. The teeth in themselves, they don't have incisors, they just have molars.
Oh, okay.
Right. Well, does anybody have any questions about Pebbles, our three-banded armadillo?
We are wondering how you got her.
We got her as a rehome from a facility in New York, the same place if you saw Tinkerbell yesterday. We got her from the same place that we're looking to downsize some of their animals. So we got her about 2 years ago. So she's been with us for 2 years. And she's been one of the star animals since we got her.
Beautiful.
So,
and is she fully grown right now, you said?
She is fully grown. She's not going to get any bigger. The three-banded armadillos are pretty small.
For those other species of armadillos, how big do they usually get?
Oh, they can get up to about 25, 30 pounds. So they get pretty big. So yeah, this is a relatively small species of armadillo. Not the smallest, but a pretty small one in general. And she's a little girl.
She is a little
She's our
pebble.
pretty little girl. Even though she is our creepy and crawly mammal, she's so adorable.
I was going to say, she barely gets under the wire for creeper collie. She's very much a cutie. I love it.
Oh, all right. Well, that was the last animal. If anybody has any questions, we can take a couple more.
Looks like people are just enjoying them here. Well, can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect for tomorrow?
Oh, absolutely. So tomorrow we are going to be doing a reptile show. Bring out a bunch of our large reptiles, some really cool animals. If you're interested in seeing any of these animals on your own, we are available. You can check out our website at www.northwestanimaladventures.org, or you can follow us on Facebook. Simply search for Northwest Animal Adventures and give us a like. Wonderful.
Well, hey, we're looking forward to it tomorrow. So guys, anyone watching right now, 6:30 tomorrow here on the the Renton Community Services Facebook page, and then also there'll be Zoom links included. So we are so looking forward to it tomorrow, and we will see you guys then. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.